And welcome back to WGN TV Political Report. The 2026 election cycle will no doubt change the political landscape across Illinois. Long list of candidates are looking to move into rarely open seats in Congress and the U.S. Senate, while Governor J.B. Pritzker faces a potential 2022 rematch in his third bid for a term. Patrick Finkston is the author of The Illinois, and he joins me this morning to talk about all of what's next. Patrick, good to see you. It's been a little bit.
Hi, Paul.
So the political landscape, as I said, it's changing, and it's going to change. A lot of people assume that we're in for a Pritzker versus Darren Bailey contest, but there are other people going for that Republican nomination. Briefly, Ted Dabrowski, of the formerly of the Illinois Policy Institute, now WirePoint's Sheriff James Mendrick, Joseph Severino, Rick Heidner, businessman. How do you see that race shaping up?
Well, it's certainly Bailey's to lose at this point, based simply on name ID. Dabrowski's campaign has been incredibly underwhelming to this point. I don't think Mendrick has shown his face since the state fair. If Rick Heidner's running a campaign, I have yet to see it.
But he's put $1 million in his campaign loan.
Sure, but you got to spend it to use it and do anything. I mean, he used it to get on the ballot, which he was able to do with plenty of signatures that were pretty messy, but still good enough. He's going to get kicked off the ballot, from my understanding. So it's a pretty weak field, and at this point, as long as Darren Bailey doesn't do anything incredibly stupid, and with his name ID, with his general support downstate, it looks like it's his primary to win.
So let's assume for a moment Bailey is the nominee. This would be his second run, and obviously the landscape changed for him with the tragic death of his son and his son's some of the family, but he stayed in. So some would argue that is a sign of character strength for him. How will voters respond to all of that? Or I guess the flip side, is a third JB term just inevitable?
So I think what we've seen out of Bailey so far, pre-tragedy and since the tragedy, I've talked to him before and after, you're seeing a guy who understands that what he did in 2022 didn't work, right? He played on his base, the momentum of that conservative movement, and just ran into a brick wall when he came up to the suburbs and the city and was not ready for that. He's trying to soften his image a little bit. That's hard to do when you've got that thick Southern accent and you finish your Facebook Lives with a prayer, right? So he has a really uphill climb to relate to people that aren't those dyed-in-the-wool Christian conservatives that he has to win to even be competitive in a general election. If you look at the national wins, which are going to have a role here, you've got to feel, if you're J.B. Pritzker's people, you're feeling pretty good about your chances to be the first Democrat ever to win a third term in this state.
And then think of not of a flip side, but another piece of that puzzle, which is most people think, I think a lot of people think, that Pritzker plans to run for president in 2028. If that happened, that issue, the existence of this issue, he's never going to say anything about that before this election is over. How does that play?
I think Republicans try to make it an issue, but I just don't know that it's something that voters are going to care that much about. They have, if Pritzker can stay on the message that he's going to use, and that's clearly going to be affordability, he's going to put that on Donald Trump's feet, which, by the way, takes that issue away from Republicans who should be making affordability a Pritzker problem, which he's vulnerable with, that they're screwing up badly. Another story for another day. I think that if he's staying on message, if he's talking about what he's doing and with a forward-looking agenda, I don't think the 2028 bombs from Republicans are really going to resonate that much with voters.
Let me shift you to the U.S. Senate race in Illinois. Open seat. That doesn't happen very often. Ordinarily, we would just talk about the Republican side, but let me open with the Democratic side to that. That was all it took for a lot of Illinois congressmen to say, I'm going for this seat. Raja Krishnamurthy, Robin Kelly, and Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton. Raj in an interesting position because some recent attacks about money that apparently have been given to his campaign by MAGA donors, he apparently is giving that money away. How do you see that playing out? And by the way, Pritzker has yet to infuse Stratton's campaign, which most people think he will.
That's the thing. So Krishnamurthy's been untouched on TV for months. So all the polls that you see show him with a big lead. The question is that a serious lead? This little mini scandal has really fired up super progressive donors. do rank and file voters really give a darn who gave Raja Krishnamurti $5,000? I doubt it, especially a scandal that's breaking right before Christmas. Really hard time to imagine that's playing a serious role come March.
Does the game change when Pritzker gives Stratton money if he does?
If Pritzker gives Stratton money. I mean, we don't know if he's all in at this point. I mean, the talk was a six-figure infusion at some point, and it hasn't happened yet. Meanwhile, Krishnamurti's been, as I mentioned, untouched on TV. So does Pritzker cut his losses? Is Stratton on her own? She's not raising much money on her own. So if Pritzker gets involved, yeah, he can absolutely, through a super PAC, make it a totally different race. But right now, it certainly looks like Krishnamurti's kind of cruising.
So we'll keep an eye on that. On the Republican side, front runner most likely Don Tracy, former chair of the Illinois Republican Party. Again, there isn't often an open seat, so usually the Republicans don't have a chance against a Dick Durbin. What about this year?
Well, Tracy's sort of in that do no harm category. I know Don. He's a really good guy. He's a thoughtful guy, a caring guy. If Krishnamurti's the nominee, I don't think there's a Republican out there that says, hey, we can go get him in a terrible environment with Trump on the ballot, dragging everybody down in the city and suburbs. If a super progressive, if like Stratton, who has not had the best run of campaign yet, is the nominee, maybe Republicans see a window they can make it competitive, but that's sort of a long shot.
Issues that the legislature will face going forward, obviously transportation comes up. This new right to die law has some people are concerned about what that might mean. Immigration, what do you see as the key issues?
I think energy is going to be the major issue that just the Democrats who run the legislature failed to address in any substantive way during the veto session this fall. Instead of finding ways to increase baseload capacity and reduce bills, they said, well, here's some battery storage that's going to cost you more on your bills. That's a vulnerability for them next year. So if Democrats are smart, they're going to come in by May and say, we're going to do something serious about energy costs.
All right, let's bear down. You know where I'm going.
Good, better, best.
Indiana Bears, what do you think?
This is such a
They didn't help themselves, did they?
This is such a terrible misplay by the franchise, and it should all be on Kevin Warren, the Bears president, who is bungling this stadium situation and has from the moment he walked into Hallis Hall.
Does he mean it? Is it a strategy?
I just don't think he knows what he's doing. He's surrounded by smart people. The folks he has that are close to the State House, they're lobbyists, they're PR people, they're really smart. I know them personally. They are good people who know what they're talking about. And even in a situation where like they may lose, you're not going to embarrass yourself if you listen to them. The Bears are embarrassing themselves. They have everybody mad at them, all the way up to J.B. Pritzker. From what I was hearing at the end of the week last week, even the governor is irate with.
So Pritzker says they're a private entity. They can do what they want.
And they can go build this stadium in Arlington Heights if they want to, but the problem is they don't have the money independently to do so. And now they're asking for schools and park districts and cities and county, et cetera, to take a hit on their property tax revenue to give this organization valued at $10 billion a break. That's not good PR for politicians to go and vote for that.
All right. That doesn't make you a Packers fan.
Never.
All right. My thanks to Patrick
I'm
Feaston.
all in on Ben Johnson, baby.
All right. I just check it out. Merry Christmas to you.
You too.
And
Happy
Happy New
Hanukkah.
Year. All right. I appreciate it. Be well. All right. One more break. We're back with a look at the week ahead after this.